Hello and welcome to another Tech Campus Coffee live webinar. This is an opportunity for you to learn about career paths at Tech directly from professionals in your field.
We'll be speaking to technical representatives from a variety of fields at Tech, and they'll share why they enjoy what they do.
Participants also have a chance to directly ask speakers and recruiters questions and get a good understanding of why Tech is a great place to work, as well as where your strengths, talents, and learning opportunities lie. Perfect. Well, let's introduce our guests here. So, once again, we're having some technical issues with Microsoft Teams. Apologize for that, but we're able to introduce them. So, our two guest speakers are Andrea McCutcheon. She's HR advisor at Fording River Operations in the Elk Valley. She's got a commerce degree in HR management from the University of Saskatchewan. And Bill Larmour, he's assistant controller at our head office, and he's got a financial management degree from BCIT. All right. Well, maybe we'll just start off with Andrea. Would you mind maybe introducing yourself a bit and telling maybe telling the students a little bit about what you do?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me well. I'm new to the giant group Teams meetings. Myself, I'm Andrea McCutcheon. So my background is, as Misaki said, an HR generalist. So I have graduated from the U of S in 2013. And been working in increasingly, complex generalist roles since then. So my first real gig started at SaskPower, which is an electrical company in Saskatchewan. I'm from Saskatchewan originally, obviously. And then about 3 years ago, moved over to Teck and have been working at Fording River since that time. So the things, that I get to do in a day-to-day basis, one of the main things that I really do is work with the business on workforce planning. Now, that takes a lot of different shapes and forms. One, obviously, just the basics of recruiting, interviewing people, hiring co-ops, huge part of my job every couple of months. But in addition to that, it's about what do we need now? What do we need to do to think about retirement planning for our existing workforce? Looking at what our future needs are going to be. So taking into account things like autonomous haulage and how that's going to change our business in the future and the skill sets that we need. So all those types of things are things that we have to think about in HR and work with the business on. Another really key thing that we work on is compensation. So how do we attract, retain, etc. people with the right compensation package, including benefits, bonuses, all that different type of stuff. So there's a lot of thought that goes into that and how to apply the methodology that Tech has in place to determine where to bring people into the organization from a compensation perspective. And then also helping leaders really manage pay for performance aspects. So we do have bonus programs and pay increases that we deal with on a yearly basis. So those things definitely part of the gig. The other thing is really, I would call it helping people to have difficult conversations. So that goes from helping with performance management of employees, doing investigations when there is mishaps in the work environment, and all of those types of things. Another key aspect for us is that we are a unionized workforce. So a lot of work around union relationship management. That starts with really just having the tough conversations and working through situations with each other, dealing with grievance processes, going to arbitrations, dealing with legal aspects of contract violations, etc. And then going through the bargaining process. Every 5 years, we do have a CBA that comes due. So we're actually just going into that process now. Other things that we definitely do, supporting employee and supervisor development is a huge aspect of the role. So we're actively involved at all times really with training our supervisors, coaching them, trying to give them the skills and the tools that they need to be effective leaders for people. And so there's formal training that we give them in terms of how to do investigations, how to apply legislation, all those different aspects, how to apply our CBA in the workforce. Those types of things definitely come up regularly. Other than that, things like leading team building sessions is one thing that I really enjoy about the HR role, and we get to do it probably quarterly, is actually go help out the engineering team or the environment team with having a team day, building their team to be a closer knit team, have a talk about goal setting and objective setting for the organization. And then other things really around, how do we apply employment standards in the workforce, and doing different types of projects. So a couple different types of projects I've been involved with since I got to join Teck. The most recent one was really about crisis management. So we have a lot of standards in place, obviously, at a mine around emergency response to situations that might happen at the workplace. But one aspect that we have to think about as well is how do we manage the human side of that? So when somebody's going through a crisis or we have a serious incident at site, how do we help support people and their families? So we actually put together a really cool package for people to kind of lead our HR team through how to best manage those situations and really provide the support to people that they need. So there's a lot of that compassionate building those things out. We are actually in process right now at Teck of also implementing a new HRIS, it's called. So it's a human resources information system tool. And it'll manage all aspects from recruitment to compensation to actually how to administer pay, all these different things. So there's a lot of advancement coming in from a technology perspective on that side of it as well. So there's a lot of work done behind the scenes to figure out how do we put our policies, all the practices that we currently have in place into those systems so that they can automate a lot of processes we're doing manually right now. So those are just a couple of the things. I won't take the whole time up, and I'll give my counterpart some time to talk too, but that's a little bit about me and what I do on a day-to-day.
That's great, Andrea. Thank you for that overview. There are definitely so many aspects to the human resources function within Teck. So I think that was a really, really good overview. Thanks for that. We'll switch it over to Bill. And Bill, can you give us a bit of an overview as what you do as a controller at Teck?
Sure. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. And it's good to have everybody on the call here. So my background, I've actually been at Teck a very long time. I'll be coming up to my 28th year at working at Teck now, and started kind of like a mid-level accounting position, and now assistant controller now here at Teck for a number of years now, and I do have my CPA. But yeah, we have a large accounting group, and just in the accounting group we have 40 people. I'm responsible for all the external reporting we do. So definitely one of the items you would probably see if you're in the business side of things is our quarterly report. We're really geared around that. And it's it's a large document, about 85 pages, and most of that I am preparing the management discussion and writing up that MD&A, and I'm responsible for the monthly consolidation and systems group. So we have about 6 people in that group. How we compile the numbers every month. We're reviewing the monthly results of the business and really monitoring the results. And a lot of times I'm dealing with, senior vice presidents explaining, accounting results to a non-accountant. So just trying to put it in plain language to them, and, working pretty closely, for them to understand their business unit results. Responsible for the monthly forecast we do. That's pretty watched very closely. We updated it sometimes even a couple times a month as metal prices are changing or as the business evolves, and especially with COVID this year, it's pretty critical to the cash flows of the business. So we have a small group for that, for budgeting and forecast. And I deal with, we definitely get a lot of ad hoc requests from senior management, and just, deal directly with Don Lindsay at times if he wants to see our EBITDA by different business units, or just, costs and all that sort of stuff. So directly, deal with him at times. Our investor relations group, all the presentations they do externally, again, we're assisting on that. And just how, again, it's translating accounting numbers to non-accountants, how it's like preparing a meal. It's all about the presentation of the numbers, explaining those, ensuring the accuracy. There's dealing with the external auditors, Price Waterhouse. They're, each month we're dealing with them, and especially on a quarterly basis too. And part of my position too, I deal with a lot with, which really makes it interesting, is the operations. Pretty much in contact with all our operations during the week. I think what Lena mentioned, it's across, wide range of countries and different businesses. The Trail Smelter, or people down in Chile, up in Alaska, the Red Dog mine. So there's US GAAP issues. So we do have a really good team atmosphere. We really focus that in the accounting group with good communication, and it's a team effort, and we really emphasize that. And we have all our managers, with our recent call with our new CFO, we have a strong focus on that. And I think it's some people ask me why, we have a lot of people who are we have newer people in our accounting group, but a lot of them are long-term employees, anywhere from like 5 to 8, 10 to 15 years. So, and people sometimes ask, why do you stay at Teck so long? But there's just constant transactions taking place. The business is always evolving, whether it's, we're involved with building new mines or properties. Even PwC says you'll never see in other organizations, really in Vancouver or even Canada, we deal with very complex transactions. We're constantly doing deals, whether it's silver streaming deals, metal, that, or debt transactions, selling, parts of joint ventures. The QB2 mine transactions, very complex, so we have it set up. So there's definitely always how the business grows. You don't get bored. It's always challenging. The most brightest that we have in the organization. So I think that's kind of a brief snapshot. Just dealing with all the other different departments to our accounting group. I think what I learned is that you think just accounting is just adding up numbers, but you're dealing with like how those, like, say we're dealing with environmental issues of how to set up provisions, and we deal with the engineering group, the legal group, understanding agreements, for revenue accounting, we're dealing with our sales and marketing people. So you get to deal with a wide range of people as you work in accounting, and you really see how the business runs and all facets of it. So I think, and there's such a wide range. Like I say, in our accounting group, we have, everything from our accounts payable group, we have expiration accounting, we have our corporate accounting that deals with all our cash transactions, our operational accounting group that deals with all the site operations and consolidation. We have our technical accounting group, so it's like an in-house PwC group that's, applying new accounting standards as we roll those out. Budgeting and forecasting group, and our systems group that takes care of our systems that we run for our general ledger. So quite a wide range of areas that once you get experience in accounting, and in the offshoots of that, we have a tax group, treasury group, and internal audit. So I'll hand it back to you, Masaki, and hopefully that covers most of the things we do.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Bill. Looks like we have some questions in the chat there. Looks like the first one is for Andrea. What is your favorite part of working at Teck? And next, what is your favorite part of working in HR?
Yeah, my favorite part about working for Teck is really, I hate to say this, but it's the people. I used to work for a Crown Corporation, and I will just say that, the caliber of people that I get to work with on a day-to-day basis at Teck is fantastic. We deal with a lot of people who are super smart, and, you can learn so much from people if you give them the opportunity to kind of tell you about themselves and their jobs. And I really have taken that to heart and learned a lot since coming to Teck, and just have a lot of motivated people who enjoy challenge. And that's really what I like the most is I get to work with a bunch of people who, similar to myself, really want to be challenged, deal with a lot of difficult stuff, and grow because of it. So that's really what I love about working at Teck. My favorite part about working in HR is just the variety of different work that I get to do. No day is the same. So I totally get what Bill says is there's a lot under the surface that you maybe don't see when you kind of first come in. I think most people's first reaction with HR is it's about recruiting people and getting them into the organization, but there is so much more from a layered perspective to it, and so much more about just how you interact with people and collaborate with people. So you can get a lot out of this career if you want to, and really grow as a person in just your day-to-day life as well as your career. So I think that's a fantastic part of taking part in an HR career versus something else.
Thanks, Andrea. We have had a couple of hands up here. Rajinder, I know you put your hand up earlier too, so we haven't overlooked you. If you'd like, you can either type in your question or you can unmute your mic and ask your question and just address either Bill or Andrea if it's for either of them, or Misaki or I.
Hi, I actually don't have the chat option, so
Okay.
I can write my questions.
No problem.
First of all,
Sounds good.
hi, good morning. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
Good, thank you. I have a question for Andrea. I actually was thinking about diversity and inclusivity. I did not hear anything regarding that. So what do you guys plan, or is there any policies?
That is a great question, Rajinder. Yeah, I totally missed that, but it definitely is something we are focusing on at Teck. So as you guys can imagine, working in mining has historically been a very male-dominated industry. And so one of our major initiatives, I would say, from a diversity perspective is actually targeting more women to join mining operations. So at Teck, over the past, I would say, 3 to 5 years, we've been targeting increasing, especially within our actual operational fields, the amount of women that we have. So I think currently we're trying to target at least 30% of our workforce being women in those, what I would call non-traditional roles, so actual mining roles. And so that's a huge component of really trying to give people opportunities that they maybe never have had before to go into mining. That means we're looking at people who maybe have backgrounds as waitresses or different stuff like that to move into fields like driving a haul truck, which is, invigorating and scary. And we've had to do actually a lot of work on how we train people, because it wasn't, meeting our new demographic in the workforce needs initially. So a lot of work has been done on that, and that starts really even with Lena could probably talk to that quite a bit about how much work they've done on the marketing side, and LinkedIn and all those different things to target that group of people that maybe we weren't looking at before. To bring them into the organization. So that's a huge part of what we've been doing. And then I think the other thing that's been a big challenge in our area actually is there's continuing discussions about women in the workforce. We actually did gender intelligence training a couple of years ago, kind of throughout the BU, at least in Cole. I'm not sure about the other areas, but just to kind of get a better understanding of how do we best work together. You know, what does each group bring to the table when it comes to working together and creating, you know, the best workplace possible for all parties, and how can we kind of use our strengths to our advantage. And then the other thing I think they've really been trying to work on is figuring out, you know, some of the challenges in the area, which include childcare. Lots of women, you know, join the organization, but obviously mining, we have a lot of long hours, and lots of schedules like that. So continuing discussions are going on about, you know, how do we support people getting the right childcare options in place so that they are able to continue their career paths, you know, throughout their different progressions of life.
Perfect. Thank you. I have one more question and I'll be done. How many employees do you currently have at Teck?
Oh, at Teck, I'm not 100%. Of what I can speak to is Fording River. So at Fording River, we are currently the biggest site in the valley. So we have about 1,400 employees. And I believe throughout our operations in the valley, we have around 5,600 or something like that.
And just enterprise-wide, globally, we have about 10,000 employees. So we're a big company.
Yeah,
Thank
Vancouver
you.
Head Office, we're about 500 downtown up until COVID. Now we're all 500 working remotely, basically. And then our transformation division based out of Vancouver has grown from 5 to 160 in the last year.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for your question. Thanks, Rajinder. We have a few more questions here in the chat, which is awesome. So I will go on to the next one here from Morgan. This is for Bill. And the question is, do you need to know USG, AAP, and IFRS in detail to work in your department, Bill? You seem like very technical questions, so
yeah,
I didn't get those acronyms right. But
we have for the US GAAP, it's I mean, as long as you understand IFRS, that's the key. And you know, obviously, even accountants, even though there's rules, we still debate over ways to apply IFRS rules, or even, you know, as new accounting policies come out, you know, how those apply to you know, the mining, you know, industry, because, you know, obviously when they're writing these new policies, they're very general. So, and each mining company might have a different interpretation of them. We do have a few people from our technical accounting side. There's a mining working group for the accounting, and we meet together on a semi-annual basis and discuss different topics. But yeah, in terms of IFRS, yeah, we definitely vet it out, and we have PwC to you know, have us assist to work through different issues at times. But on the US GAAP side, there's not a huge amount of differences between US GAAP and IFRS. But we do definitely in our consolidation, we're making adjustments, and it's just our Red Dog operation that reports in US GAAP, and maybe a few small subsidiaries. And the adjustments that we do make on a monthly basis, our team is well versed in them. So, and previously we used to do a US GAAP IFRS tax reconciliation, our notes to financials, but we no longer have to do that. So it's yeah, pretty much all IFRS. So that wouldn't be anything to hold a co-op student back for anything. So hopefully that helps.
Thanks, Bill. We have another hand up from Tosin. If you'd like to unmute your mic, I think we might be having some issues with the chat feature for some students or maybe all. So, but if you're happy, we're happy to have you ask the question as well. So go for it.
Thanks. Thanks guys for organizing this. I have a question for Bill. All I hear you say has been financial reporting, and I would like to ask if you have an in-house corporate finance team that consummates the transactions you mentioned earlier. And secondly, this is a general question. Is this event targeted towards MBA students, or is just for co-ops, like undergrads? And
yeah, in terms of transactions, a lot of things. We have a corporate development group, so they would be the ones masterminding any transactions we may want to enter into or take place. So that might be investing in a new property, or say for the QB2 investment we have and mine development, we sold down on some of that to Sumitomo, so they kind of drive those deals. And then we have our treasury group, and we have that's our finance group, and that's so once corporate development has completed the transactions, then we're working very closely with them and our treasury group of how this cash transaction takes place, how do we apply the accounting, where the funds are flowing through if there's different subsidiaries or joint ventures set up, and then obviously dealing with our legal group to again understand agreements that are being put in place. So how projects are funded, and sometimes you do a transaction where a new partner comes in, they may have to fund the first 100 million for a deal, and then we step in, and you might have to sell down your percentages. So it's corporate development, our treasury group, and accounting group are all working together on these type of transactions taking place in the business. And sorry,
I can cover the second part of the question. Sure. It was about this event and what we're targeting. So really this event, Campus Coffee, it's designed to help young people like yourselves determine your career path, right? And just giving you a sense of here are different types of roles at Teck, and we have, like I said, 10,000 people. We have a lot of different opportunities, and so every week we're just showcasing one or two in the fields relevant to students. So are we targeting co-ops or MBAs? We're targeting everybody. At the end of the day, we have opportunities for every type of individual, and so it's not a matter of if we have a role for you, it's a matter of when. And so we have a lot of plans for growth, and there's turnover. So anyway, so do we need MBAs? Yes. Do we need co-op students? Yes. It's a short answer.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Should we go one more question before we switch over to the trivia?
Sure. Let's we have a few questions here from just in the chat, but how about Rajinder has her hand up, so do you want to maybe ask your question, and then we will be able to address some of the questions afterwards too that are in the chat as well after the trivia.
Yeah, as Masaki was talking about co-op students, and I was wondering how many co-op students do you guys hire, or like, is there any limit? Or
yeah, I can cover that one. So the exciting thing for me is we, regardless of COVID, regardless of economic downturns, and we're committed to hiring students, and so. In the midst of so first off, right now we have around 50 positions that we're in the process of filling for January. We hired over 50 students start this past September, and even like just working my way backwards. We're worried about COVID, the impact of hiring students, and we hired around 50 students for May, who started only a couple weeks later. So. Overall, our strategy is the co-ops are key to our future. And this is a very important part of, co-op is a big part of us building our full-time team. And that's only going to continue, if not accelerate. So yes, we're going to be hiring. I don't have the exact numbers, but I imagine next summer will be at least a similar number, if not higher. And that's not even including the summer students, right? So we hire between between around 150 and 300 students per year, 150 and 300 ballpark. Obviously, there's going to be fluctuations. All right, let's we have some more questions in the chat, but maybe before we go there, let's go to Feluca. If we can get that slide up with the testimonials of the other business students who worked at Teck earlier this year, and then we can talk a bit about sort of recruitment, and then we'll come to the Q&A. And as we mentioned earlier, a few of us will be able to stick around afterwards to answer questions. If you have questions and you're available to stick around longer, it looks like we've got some great questions still in the chat, but also there may be more questions, so we'll get to those.
Absolutely. So I can talk a little bit about recruitment. If you can hopefully see the slide that's up right now, there are just some testimonials, as Misaki mentioned, of students who completed work terms at Teck. So feel free to read through those. But in terms of just recruitment in our company, we really hope that we've piqued your interest in the mining industry, and of course, particularly with what Teck has to offer. We do hire for opportunities in all of our operations across Canada. And you can see from the quotes above that, we can confidently say that our students enjoy their time with us. We survey all of our outgoing students, and we always have a really positive response rate and approval rating from our students in the different work experiences that they get when they come work with us. A couple of big themes that we hear again and again are that students are excited about the level of responsibility that they get when they work for us. And of course, the lifestyle, which we actually didn't really get to talking about too much, but a lot of our operations are located in just really awesome places around BC and Alberta. I mean, if it is being at the head office or, working in a bigger city like Vancouver or Calgary, you have, all those awesome amenities of working and living in a larger city. But then also all of our mining operations are located in small, really nice small towns with wonderful communities, lots of outdoor activities to do. So there's really something for everyone. And in terms of the recruitment process, so as we mentioned earlier, we do hire students 3 times per year. So that is in January, May, and September. Right now, we are in the recruitment process for hiring students for January, I think. And Misaki, you can correct me if you have more of an update, but I think we're pretty much wrapped up for most of the recruitment for January intake.
Yeah, so of the 50 some odd positions, I would suggest we're around 80% done, if not. But also the positions that we're looking to fill, we've already got applications and interviews are taking place. So I don't imagine we'll be accepting too many more. But actually, while we're on that, just to answer some questions, we're going to be hiring for we don't know what position we're going to hire for May yet, but I imagine there's going to be a number of for both finance and HR at different locations. But it's just hard to predict. But we do hire them every year, every summer.
Absolutely, yeah, and we will start recruiting for our May intake end of January, early February is kind of when the next recruitment cycle starts. So if you are interested in our opportunities and starting applying for a position for May, look out for that in the new year. And we do post all of our positions on our website, which is jobs.teck.com. So you can find some more information just about students on our career site. Any positions that we are recruiting for will be posted there. And then we do work with the co-op offices across many campuses as well. So if you are part of a co-op program, you can you can see our postings through the co-op offices too.
And also, I guess to add, we appreciate you attending. Like I said, we're going to stick around and we're going to answer some of these questions. I think some people's 2 questions have been about relocation. We do cover relocation. There's a certain amount. I can't remember, Elena, do you know the exact amount? But we do cover the, I think it was, oh my goodness, was it transportation/flight? I have to go back. I think it's around oh my goodness, I can't remember the exact number, but I think it's around 700. We also cover the co-op tuition fee. There's a number of really interesting things about working at Teck aside from the high student salaries. But yeah, so there's relocation, different types of. Andrea, is that something area that you were familiar with? Oh, you're on mute.
Okay, sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah, so I do administer some of this. So like you said, the $700 really is just to cover co-op tuition fees. And then we do assist with relocation costs to actually get students to their new location, as well as helping them out to cover the basic costs of transportation back to their old location if they're moving back to school and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. While we have you, there's a question actually, how many co-op positions do you generally have at Fording River that are in HR and accounting? I'm not sure if you
Yeah, it varies depending on the year and kind of where things are at with prices and different stuff like that. But we have, since I've been here on a couple of occasions, had one student in HR and one who is assisting with finance type responsibilities. But obviously Fording's just one of 4 coal sites. So all of them have opportunities as well as our Sparwood office will usually have some opportunities, and over where Lena works as well at Central Recruiting, there's usually some HR opportunities for co-op students there.
Mm-hmm.
Great. I think I skipped over a question. I think there's a question here for Bill. And once again, Andrea and Bill. So first of all, I should say thank you for joining us and being our guest speakers. But if you have to drop off, please drop off. But you can stick around. We've got a few more questions. Bill, there's one question here that's for you. Is does Teck recruit CFA chart holders as financial analysts, or the primary focus on the CPA designation?
Typically would obviously in the accounting group focus on having your CPA, but yeah, some people have got their certified financial planner designation too, as they've worked at Teck, or financial analysts. So yeah, just we always encourage people to continue their education path even once they have their they form their basis of their accounting CPA. Yeah, people have gone on to attain other designations while still working at Teck, and maybe moved over to the treasury group or other parts of the finance organization.
To continue build off that, there's a question from Morgan. Could you speak to some of the functions of the Treasury Department? And hang on, what would be a more appropriate of a place for CFA candidates to apply?
Yeah, our Treasury group. I mean, they're dealing with all our cash transactions every day. We actually have a cash manager. Again, because we have about 100 subsidiaries in our consolidation group, even though you see Teck Resources, the headline company, behind that there's 20 main key companies or subsidiaries, but there's a lot of holding companies, how we have our ownership in our different mining properties or investments, for exploration companies. So money is constantly being moved around, again, for tax purposes and things like that. But so there's a group that's constantly managing our cash, through those subsidiaries, dealing with the banks. Treasury group is also dealing with all the, we have a lot of debt transactions taking place. So it's dealing with the banks with that, and also for all the our rating agencies, we're constantly updating the long-term forecasts for the company. We take the life of mine plans, and we're forecasting out the cash flows of the company, to show the rating agencies our cash flows. And it's one of the reasons why we got back to investment grade over the last couple of years. So we really focus on that. So that's a big part of what the Treasury Group is doing.
Great. Okay, we got a couple of questions in the chat. We have a hand up. Maybe I'll knock off one of the ones in the chat, and then we'll go to the hand up. So the question from Amber was, besides co-ops, does Teck offer internship opportunities? There's sort of a gray area there in terms of, I guess definition of co-op and intern, but we hire co-op students, like I said, 150 plus. We also hire summer students for 4-month positions, and our co-op students that we hire not necessarily are all students in a co-op program. We don't, we obviously support the co-op programs, but we also recognize there's talent not in co-op programs, or students who can't be in a co-op program, or schools that don't have co-op programs. So anyway, so at the end of the day, it's talent, but we do have 2 streams. So students, these co-op students, usually 8-month positions. That's our preference for most of our co-op position, and then summer positions from May to August will be 4 months. We have a hand up. Is it Abdul? Yeah, feel free to ask away.
First of all, thank you guys for doing this. My question is, are you guys hiring for new grads?
Yeah, I saw that question later in the chat as well, so it's great. The short answer is we're always hiring, and Lena knows very well. Like, we can't get down to 0. It's like whack-a-mole. There's like, probably, I don't know, but how many positions are we looking to fill right now, Lena?
In the high 400s right now. We have a lot.
Yeah, and since I started, we've never been below 200, even during pandemic, and that I've seen. And so long story short is the way our co-op program is very structured. Recruitment happens for the January, May, September. We know and so there's with full time it's as needed, right? And so we don't know when the next new grad position for a particular discipline is going to pop up, but we do know that it will happen. We're just that big, and we just have that much, growth, and there's just natural turnover as well. So the short answer is yes, we hire new grads, and I actually don't know what new grad positions we have on our site right now, but you can always check and keep an eye on that, and have you can set it up so you get you get notifications for certain positions. But like I said, it's not a matter of if we'll have a position that you are that you're qualified for, that's relevant to you. It's a matter of when.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Another hand seems to be up. Is it Nair?
Oh, yes. Hello. This is Bharat from Thompson Rivers University.
Hey, welcome.
Hello. How are you doing today?
Very good, thanks.
Actually, I had a question. Teck just posted an HR assistant co-op position on November 3rd. So what is the hiring timeline for that one?
Great question. So yeah, I guess that's a later one that's come in. So it's great. So that's relevant for a lot of these students. Wonderful. So I imagine then so if that was up on November 3rd, is it still up or is it down? Like I could check, I guess, but do you know if it's...
Yes, it's still up. The deadline is November 30th, I think.
Oh, wow. Okay. So if that's the case, then that's going to be, I imagine that we'll finish the recruitment well before November 30th. So my suggestion would be, if you're interested in that position for any of you students, apply as soon as possible, because we will not want to have that sit there till November 30th. I would imagine that we'll want to wrap this one up within the next week and a bit, and interviews may have already started. So anyways, it's more of a speed thing. You want to get in there if you're interested.
But if it's still posted, definitely still apply. So
yes, exactly. Yeah, if it's up, apply for sure.
Yeah.
I just applied yesterday.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Ms. Saki, I'm just going to have to sign off now. I got a 10:15 appointment, but
yes.
If there's any other follow-up questions, I'm happy to answer those. And but yeah, just good luck with best wishes for all the students on the online here.
Thanks a lot, Bill.
Thanks
Bill.
for including me today. Thank you.
Thanks for joining.
All right. So yeah, like I said, so let's see how many people we still have left. Okay, we still actually have a decent number of students on the call. So we'll stick around to answer most of your questions. So if you have questions, feel free to fire away. I think I see the next one here is what co-op opportunities are there for HR students. Just from my experience, there's a variety. There's there's recruitment, there's sort of general HR. There's a whole broad range. One of the students I work closely with is on talent management, and she's working on sort of the professional development kind of leadership programs, the programming for education. That's a big part of. We've got various leadership programs, professional development programs at Teck, and so she works at the head office on that. There's lots of training things, even site ones. What else? The HRIS system. There's been a number of students hired in that. Let me see, what else am I missing? Diversity, student working in diversity and inclusion, and so we have I guess a business-wide diversity inclusion survey that a student's been working on with our director of diversity inclusion. Yeah, that's just scratching the surface. We're like I said, we've got so many different positions. Yeah, let me see here. And the question from Ben. Okay, so Ben left Teck to complete an accounting degree and hoping to return to a more managerial role once graduated. What support systems are available? That's a great question. It's something that I think we're looking at building. I know that, so Lena and I, we report to the same individual, and one of the things that we're looking at is that internal recruitment and internal referrals, and that's something we're currently building with SAP. But it's not quite there yet. It's not where we want it to be. So my suggestion for people who've worked at Teck is your greatest advantage is your network, the people who you worked with, and just reaching out to them. I definitely encourage that because I think if you performed well with a previous supervisor, is just staying in contact with that individual, and they can open the door for for others. And it's the same for the students on the call. The current Teck students, Morgan, Alana, Sarah. They have a network that's constantly expanding. And so it's leveraging that network. So not just working at Teck. I think it's this advice for all students is take advantage. Like, the most important thing that you get from an actual co-op work term or an internship is not actually that experience, but it's more the network. And if you can have one person at that organization say, tell other people how amazing you were, that's going to be a heck of a lot more powerful than being able to put a particular software, a particular kind of experience on your resume. Yeah, feel free to fire away.
Hi, thanks a lot for doing this. I really appreciate all of you guys coming out and setting up this virtual coffee chat. My question has to do with, in the past, what were the typical finance positions out of Vancouver that are over the summer? What have you done in the past? What are the job titles, say, in what departments?
Well, I don't know if Elena can be able to help on this one, but I do know that we had okay. So finance is not my area of expertise. My area is sort of HR and talent acquisition and whatnot, and I sort of sit with the HR students. I know the HR roles. Unfortunately, I don't know all the finance roles, but we had so last year we had Louis. He was a finance student. He worked from January to August at the head office. He did excellent. I think we hired him full time in September. I can't remember if it must have been September. We hired him full time, but I can't remember exactly what part of finance he was in. But so that was the Vancouver office. But I do know the other offices, they have students. I don't know, Lana, do you know if there's any finance students at HVC right now?
I'm not sure about finance. I know that we did just hire an accounting student to start in January, though.
Okay. Yeah. So unfortunately, I don't have the details. But in general, there's different roles, different sites, and unfortunately, sorry, I don't have two more details than that.
I think too, Misaki, just in terms of the job postings, we typically would post it as a finance co-op student or an accounting co-op student or summer student. Summer students would be not as common, but so if you're looking for just job titles, that's I guess is what it would be quite general. And then as Alana and Misaki mentioned, within the accounting departments, within the finance departments, within Teck, and a variety of different responsibilities that you could have.
Morgan, I see you got your hand up there. Did you want to jump in there? Like, did you have something to comment on this question?
Yeah, I'm just in a finance degree
There we go.
right now, and they have so you have your site cost analysts on each of your sites, right? Green Hills, Fording, whatnot. You're gonna have your controller, and they're gonna have a co-op student that is finance related. I can really only speak to Teck Coal, but then you have the Mountain View office where you have the sort of consolidation accounting department that uses finance students. I worked there last year. And then right now I'm working in business improvement maintenance, just like helping move costs and dollars around into different reports for people to use. So it's really like, doesn't really matter that you have a finance degree. Anywhere that Teck thinks you're going to be useful, they'll kind of put you. It is my experience.
Perfect. And while we've got you, I sort of want, because consider you don't report to me, so there's no pressure. But how's your work term so far?
I have never had more fun. Like I'm absolutely just floored by the amount of data that I'm able to work with. Like everything, like Race 21 really isn't just talk for the investors every quarterly report. It's unbelievable the amount of data we have to work with to try and improve things. Some of it updated every 2 seconds in the maintenance department, but I probably can't speak too much more to that for confidentiality things, but really enjoying it.
Wonderful. Good to hear. I don't know what we want to do, Lena. We got Dylan's got a hand up, but Alana, you had your hand up, but I don't know if you was something for something else.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to speak a little bit to Gage's question about hiring co-ops in all majors in business. And so I got hired in a supply chain management co-op role, and I've been doing that since July. And I don't study supply chain management, so I have a major in international business. And it is like slightly related, but not really. So as long as you can like show that you have the skills for that posting, then like your major, it matters, but not as much as you would think.
Awesome. Great. Thanks. Yeah. That's a good point. Dylan has a hand up.
Hi, yeah, my name's Dylan. I'm a finance undergrad student at the University of Lethbridge. I have a question. I think maybe Morgan could speak to this the best. Just with like all the data analytics and all the stuff you've been analyzing, is that primarily like Excel based, or I've heard like Tech's using a lot of like Power BI, and just kind of like what your thoughts are on like Power BI and how it's like affecting the industry and like those kind of things. And yeah, if you could just speak to that, that'd be great.
Yeah, so that's an interesting one. In finance, like if you're in consolidation type accounting finance roles, like at the Mountain View office or on site, you're gonna be using mainly Excel. So you're gonna want really fine-tuned Excel skills. But moving forward, the focus is getting off of these kind of like standard SQL based servers and moving more into analysis cubes that really you need Power BI for. So the future is definitely going to be Power BI. That I would say 90. I'm working on a Power BI model right now that I probably shouldn't have on my screen, but it would be 95% Power BI. If you really want to prepare for a job like coming up, you should be really fine tuning your Power BI skills, because that's the Excel of the future in my mind. And glad to see Vish must have forwarded that along to you, Dylan, that opportunity there.
Yeah, he's the one who told me about it. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys putting this on, and I appreciate the question or the answer, Morgan. That was good. So thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks for asking. Interesting question.
Yeah, thanks, Morgan, and Alana as well. And I just to build on what Morgan is saying is, Power BI is all over our business. all over. And I agree with you. I think that's I was for a while there when I had a bit more time. I was trying to learn it on the side in my evenings and whatnot, just to build up my skills but all over the business. I see Rajinder, you have your hand up. Yeah, feel free to ask.
Hi, I'm not sure who can answer this question, but I'll just put it in a general way.
Sure.
I have been looking on the website that most of the HR postings are in Vancouver. So if I apply, I am actually living in Calgary. So if I apply here, like, do you guys have the opportunity to work remotely? Like if I apply for Vancouver and I'm working remotely from Calgary?
It's a great question. It really depends on the role and depends on the timing of things and depends on how the pandemic plays out. So right now, Feluca report to me, but we're both working from home, but she just happened to be in Vancouver, but we did post at Calgary. I think the original plan was to work remotely and with the goal of hopefully things clear up and then we're back in our silver tower at some point in the future. But there was the expectation of her to relocate, but at some point, but if she was living in Calgary, she could work straight from Calgary for the time being. It all depends on the roles, and there's certain roles where, I work closely with Lena. She's in the Elk Valley. I work with people all over the business, and even before the pandemic, my entire team, we're all over the place. So it's just one of the just the way it's just the way of business is these days. And I guess the pandemic throws a bit of a curveball in there, which has benefited people in some ways about flexibility. I don't know if that answers your question, but so the positions in Vancouver, there may be some positions where you need to be there, but there's other positions where you don't.
Basically, that we don't. Yeah, it's really dependent on the role and the supervisor and what the situation is at the time. So we don't have an established policy at this time, but we're flexible and understanding that, especially right now during COVID, that there are circumstances and we are open to talking about those and making it work for candidates.
Yeah, and Lena, I think our team is a good example. So Lena and I work with Rich, and Rich he basically works out of Calgary. Lena's in southeastern BC. I'm in Vancouver, and we're all on the same team.
Yeah.
So in that case, I can apply and I should wait, or you guys suggest that they'll be written on the website when I apply on the job posting that.
Well, just read what's on the job posting, and if it seems like it's if it doesn't specify you must relocate or whatnot, then you don't need to worry about it, right? Just apply, and you can always ask these questions in an interview. Right. I guess the main thing is don't miss out on the opportunity because you're worried about where you live, especially right now. It's I don't imagine we're going to be going back to the office anytime soon. So.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, we need to wrap this up at some point. I think we've gotten through most of the questions in the chat, so that's good. Morgan's got a hand up, I think. Yeah, fire away, Morgan.
Sorry, can you guys hear me now? I keep muting and unmuting. I can't speak to every other role, but I was told by my superintendent that if I can be in Finland if I want, as long as I'm showing up to work 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., he doesn't care where I'm at. But it's obviously pretty different for every role. And then I forgot something about that Power BI question. I'd say half my job is moving tools from Excel to Power BI right now. So definitely Power BI would be the better skill to prepare than Excel. But
yeah, I agree. And if I could have a co-op student who just did Power BI for me, I'd be thrilled.
You better hire me when I'm done then.
yeah, for sure. So yeah, for all these students, Power BI, Python is very valuable as well. Data is the future. Get comfortable with it. Awesome. Well, let's definitely wrap up by 10:30. I think we got about 4 minutes left. Is that another hand? I think that's Morgan's hand still up there. Put it down. Okay, so I think we covered everything. If there's any other questions, last call for questions. Otherwise.